Go ahead.
Alshon, you kind of consider yourself one of the elite players on this football team. What does it mean to you to go up against an elite team, the #1 team in the country this weekend, and try to put South Carolina on the map?
I mean, it means a lot to us. I mean, we want to go out and just show the world what South Carolina football about, and just go out and compete and play hard and try to come out with a win.
Josh?
Alshon, what are your impressions of Cliff Matthews as a team leader and as one of the guys who is, I guess, in the position to take this team where it wants to go?
I mean, everybody looks up to Cliff. I mean, like every day in practice, like he works hard. Like you never knows when he's tired. I mean, like Justice, my roommate, like he always tell me like you'll never know when Cliff's tired, because I mean he always works hard. Like Coach Spurrier said, like he's just one of the players that just never tries to take a play off.
Alshon, what are your impressions of Alabama so far this season?
I mean, my impression of they're a pretty good team. I mean, I watched the Florida game, so I mean they pretty much just dominate them. But their defense is a pretty good team.
Alshon, what does it mean to you to go against a team like Alabama that has one of the premier receivers in the country, in Julio Jones? Do you take that as a personal challenge to show the country that, hey, I'm also one of the country's top receivers?
I mean, I don't take it as a personal challenge. I'm just go out and show the world what I got. I mean, whatever the stats is, that'll take care of itself. I'm just caring about more of us winning.
Alshon, the quick start you've got to this season, are you getting more recognition around campus and around the city? People knowing who you are a little bit more?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, but when people come out to me, they already know who I am. But I mean, it's not a big deal, nothing.
To touch on that Florida game, you got to be somewhat encouraged by the fact that the Gators did move the ball on Bama, and aside from those big miscues, that's a totally different game.
I mean, it was a great game, but I mean, like, I can't speak about Florida game. Well, I wasn't playing, but I mean, like, I felt like Florida should have took a few more shots down the field or something. But they did move the ball pretty well, though.
By now, you probably know South Carolina's never beaten the #1 ranked team. What would that mean to do it here, to do it in front of these fans, and to do it for the school in the sense that, you know, it would really give this school a huge boost nationally?
I mean, it would mean a lot to us. I mean, that's what we're going to go out and try to prove on Saturday.
Alshon, what do you remember about last year's game and going up against Alabama?
I mean, last year's game, it was pretty, like, it was a big crowd. I mean, like, it was just like the atmosphere was kind of crazy. I mean, like, you had, like, I remember their linebackers. I think all of them was pretty big. I mean, they're gone now, but I mean, they was a pretty good team. I mean, just looking, when you line up, like Coach Spurrier tells when you line up across somebody, you kind of like think about how big the person is. But I mean, it was a pretty good game. I mean, we stepped to the challenge, but I mean, we just got to finish this year.
Alshon, talk about that sequence in last year's game. I think they threw 3 straight jump balls to you in the corner of the end zone. I don't think you came down with one. How frustrating was that sequence there for you?
I mean, it's pretty frustrating. I mean, I had one of them in my hand, but he just made a pretty good play. But I mean, it was frustrating. But I mean, this year, if it happens, I mean, I'm gonna try to make every play.
So kind of talk about the feeling you get when 2001 is playing right before you guys are coming out on the field.
I mean, the feeling I get, I mean, it's ready to go. I mean, I'm ready to go. I'm really hyped up. I mean, I'm ready to get this win. I mean, just whatever happens, take care of yourself.
Anything? Okay.
What are you doing differently, do you think, this year than last year? What feels different, and what maybe physically do you feel different playing with a little bit more weight and muscle?
I mean, last year, I was just going with the rhythm, just playing. But like this year, I'm like learning more stuff and like moving more faster and doing things better than I did last year.
Alshon, what's the locker room chatter been like so far this week? I mean, you do have the #1 team in the country, come into town, and clearly you guys have seen what they're capable of just through the first few weeks of the season.
I mean, the locker room was just like, it's pretty quiet. I mean, we just want to, like, everybody, we had a team meeting. We just like talk, like Chris Culver call up a team meeting for us. I mean, everybody was just talking about things we need to do, and like how we need to step up, because this is a big game for us.
Correct.
Alshon, a lot of people on the outside feel like Alabama is almost unbeatable. I mean, you can't go in with that mentality. I mean, do you feel like this Saturday is absolutely 100% possible South Carolina can win this football game and come out with a win? I mean, you hear so many people saying that this Alabama team is one of the greatest teams in the country and almost unbeatable.
I wouldn't say anybody's unbeatable. I mean, on any given Saturday, or Thursday, anybody can be beat.
Any other questions for Alshon?
Alshon, Coach Saban coaches the secondary for Alabama pretty hard. He's obviously going to try to center something around stopping you. What have you seen from their secondary? I mean, just how tough are they?
Man, they're a pretty decent secondary. I mean, they do a pretty good job of like trying to like distract the receivers on bumping them off the routes and nothing. But I mean, just like all we got to do as a receiver just was do everything right. I mean, just run out the routes and just expect the ball and like know where we're going.
Alshon. In the early part of the season, you guys were relying a lot on Marcus Lattimore to kind of set the tone for the offense, and then use those. When they reacted to that, throw the ball more. It seemed like Auburn, you got a little bit away from that. Do you feel like this team operates best when it tries to establish the run first, or would you like to see the ball thrown downfield more?
I feel like whatever's working, we might as well go with it. If Marcus running, or whoever's running, or whoever's catching the ball, whatever works, I think we should go with it.
What does it mean when you see your quarterback kind of take on a reckless abandon type of nature? When he's sliding in first, he's taking on defenders. To you, are you like, dude, you got to kind of take it a little easier, or are you thinking, all right, this is the kind of guy that I love to lead our team?
I love his competitiveness. But like sometimes, I think it's best, like Coach Gray says, let's just slide down sometimes. So.
Any other questions for Alshon? All right, Alshon, you're done. Thank you. Guys, go ahead. Cliff Mann.